As we know, to solve a problem, we rely on two aspects. One, the program, and the second, the input to the program. Now, when we say parallelism, which is to be parallelized, the program or the data? Hence, today's class focuses on the concept of parallelism. There are two types of parallelism: data parallelism and functional or task parallelism. In order to understand the concept, we will first look into something called data dependence graph. As the name suggests, data dependence is a graph where the vertex represents the task to be accomplished. The edge is a directed one from one task V1 to another task V2, indicating that V2 can be executed only after V1, or otherwise V2 is dependent on V1. So if there is no path between two tasks, they can be executed independently or simultaneously. Consider the example given in this diagram. A sandwich is to be made with two slices of bread, one spread with peanut butter and the other with jelly. The order of making the sandwich is given in the diagram. The spreading of peanut butter on a slice is independent of spreading the jelly in a different slice. So they can be done parallelly. To make a sandwich, we need the spread on both the slices to be complete. Also, you can put the jars away only after the slices are done. So we'll see one more example to make this clear. In order to mow a lawn, first we need to set off the security alarm. If there are three gardeners, one can mow the lawn, one can do the edging, one can weed out the lawn. So they can work parallelly. Once they are done, sprinklers can be checked upon, and after that they can switch the security alarm on. So if there are more than three gardeners, the work can be further split into different people simultaneously. Now we'll try to draw a data dependence graph for the code given here. S1 is assigning a value of 0 to a variable A. The value of A is then copied to B. In statement 3, the value of A is added to variable D and is then stored in C. This statement is purely independent of S2. S4 is dependent on S3 because the value of D has to be changed to 2 only after the addition in S3. Now you can see the corresponding data dependence graph on the right side. Now try drawing a data dependence graph for the code given here. I will pause for 10 seconds so that you can take down the diagram seeing this code here. Now, if you compare the graph with your diagram, check whether they are equal. And if there is any error, please try to draw it again. Okay. Now we'll move on to the concept of data parallelism. Consider the for loop given here. The loop is actually trying to add 100 elements in array B and array C and store each one in the array A. So if there is only one processor available and each addition takes 1 microsecond, the entire loop will take 100 microseconds. And if there are 100 processors available to do the addition, we can simply give each array element to each processor. And within 1 microsecond, all the results will be stored in array A. Here, the data is distributed parallelly to the processors, hence making the code data parallel. Now, consider the code given here. The data is available in 4 variables A, B, M, and S. Now, the first two statements are functionally parallel. Why? Because since they can be executed parallelly. Again, the third and fourth are functionally parallel because they are independent of each other. But the data is the same. Both are working with A and B, but the tasks are independent, making it functionally parallel. And hope data parallelism and functional parallelism is clear to you. Now I conclude with a comparison study of data parallelism and task parallelism. Here you can see that in data parallel system, the instructions are synchronous and same, whereas in the functional parallel system, the instructions are different. The data can be same or different as the case may be. So thank you for listening, and we'll be continuing the series in the next video.